Valentine's Day is coming up very quickly, and today I'm going to give you two options for some Valentine's Day looks. I'm going to give you a soft option and a sultry option. And for both of those, I'm going to be using the Natasha Denona Retro Palette. And mine looks a little different because I have rearranged the shades, but we're going to be concentrating on these two rows right here for both looks. I might dabble over here, but for the most part, we're going to stick with these two rows because those are some beautiful mauve, wine, burgundy shades, and I think that they are perfect for Valentine's Day. Hi, I'm Andi. Welcome back. I'm really happy that you're here. The first look I'm going to do for you today is the look I'm wearing right now. This is my soft look. This is a soft and pretty and glowy and just really basic Valentine's Day look, because you know what? You don't have to get all glammed up on Valentine's Day. It's not about the glam. It's not about spending money. It's about who you're spending time with. Hey, that could be yourself. You could be taking yourself out for a beautiful Valentine's Day dinner. So if you want to see how I achieved this look, then stick around. We are going to start off with eye primer. This is the Morphe Solo Artist Priming Cream Shadow. And this is in the shade Debut. And it's one of my favorites. It just gives a really great blank canvas for your eyeshadow. Now for the soft look, we are going to be a little glowy, a little lit from within. We're not going to go crazy with highlighter. We're just going to do some natural and pretty glow. Pretty is the word. Pretty is the word for this look. It's going to be soft and it's going to be pretty. Soft is not usually something that I do because I like a lot of shimmer. I like a lot of smokiness on the outer corner. We're not doing any of that today. We're not doing any of that for look number one. It's just soft and pretty. I do have my skincare on. In the wintertime, my skin is very dry. My under eyes are very dry. I will put the CeraVe healing ointment underneath my eyes while I'm getting ready. I have a tube of it and I just keep refilling this guy here. The tube I keep in my bedroom because I use it sometimes on my lips, sometimes under my eyes when I go to bed. I did my brows last night and I'm a little sensitive right through here. Like I said, we're using the Natasha Denona Retro Palette. And I'm going to start off with this shade right here. And that shade is actually the shade Andi, but it's, as I said in my intro, I have moved the shades around a little bit, but that is the shade Andi. And you can see how much I love that shade because I'm going to be really sad when that's gone. I'm going to have to find something else to put in there. So I'm going into that shade and I'm just going to put it all over. Man, that shade is really dusty. Just going to put it all over my mobile lid and then just a little bit above. Because I have hooded eyes, I need to take it up a little further so that you can still see it. And this is a really great transition shade in this palette. Although I'm using it all over my lid, I'm using it as my base shadow because we're not doing a whole lot with this look. This is a very easy look, very soft look, like I said, a very soft look. Now I'm going to go into this taupey shade right here, and I'm hoping it's light enough to kind of blend. What I'm going to mix this shade and this shade, kind of make a little mixture of the two. And I'm just going to start to blend this upper line. This palette is very dusty. I don't remember that. It could be getting some age on it, although it's not really that old. But it is one of my favorites. Yeah, just like that. Just blending that top line out just a little bit. And then I'm going to go into that lightest shade. And I'm just going to hit my brow bone with that and blend out that shade underneath so that we just have a nice seamless blend. We don't have a lot of harsh lines. So I didn't go too crazy in my outer corner like I usually do, but I am going to clean up just that outer edge. And then that's all for our mattes. That's all we're doing for our mattes. I have the NYX glitter primer. I'm going to put a little bit of that on my mobile lid so that those beautiful shimmers in this palette have something to adhere to. I do love the NYX Glitter Primer, and I use this for most of my more mainstream formulas. I feel like indie shadows need a little bit more oomph when it comes to glitter primer, but I think that the NYX works great for this formula. Now I'm going to take a flat brush. This is just from Shop Miss A, and I'm going to go into this shade right here. In this palette, it says Mood. I don't think that's the original. I don't think that's what it's actually called, but you know, it's the second to lightest shimmer. And I'm just going to start in the center of my lid. I'm going to go a little bit above that crease because, as I said, I have hooded eyes and I want to be able to see those beautiful shimmers. I may end up going in with my finger on this, but I don't think so. I think this is doing what I need it to do. I'm just going in the center of the lid. It's so pretty. And then I'm going to take the other side of the brush and just go on each side of that and just blend it a little bit. So we have a very soft eye with a very soft shimmer. Don't want it to be super impactful, which is usually, that's my go-to, super impactful. The more impactful, the better. So the eye look is done. I'm going to go off camera. I'm going to put my base makeup on. We're going to come back with liner, lips, cheeks. So don't go anywhere. Okay, the base is done. I did do my contour and my bronzer, but for cream blush, we're going in with the Nude Sticks Stacks. This is the shade Pink Love. And it is so, so pretty. It's so pretty. And I'm just going to put a little bit on my cheekbone. That's it. Just that little bit. Then I'm going to blend it out with a sponge. This is a Real Technique sponge. This is what, it's dirty because I just used it. But I love the Real Technique sponges. This one is a little bit different. This is not their powder sponge, but it feels a lot like it. It's very fuzzy. But the thing that I've noticed is that it cracks very, very easily. So I'm not overly hard on my sponges, but I do wash them daily. So I don't know if that has something to do with it. I've kind of had that problem with a few sponges lately, but I'm going to take that sponge and I'm just going to blend all of that in. For powder, I'm going to go in with my one size. This is a mini, like a travel size of the Ultra Pink. I got this and the regular translucent in a set. And I got it when it was on sale. So I got it, the set, for $19. And completely worth it. Completely worth it. This is one of my favorite setting powders that I discovered last year. So I'm just going to put that on a puff and just go in my T-zone. That's all I use setting powder, is in my T-zone. Now, in the summer, when I am a little bit more combination, it just depends on the day, on how humid the day is. But it's dead of winter right now, so I just use it to blur my pores and set. And this does an amazing job of blurring. This does such a great job of blurring. I'm not going to go in with a powder bronzer today. I'm not going over the top, but I am going to go in with a powder blush to set all of this over here. And this is the NYX Buttermelt Blush, and this is in the shade My Butta Half, right? Yeah, My Butta Half. And I'm just going to, it looks a little intimidating. It is not that bright on your skin. Now, it can be. If you build it up, it can be. But I'm just going to go very lightly and tap it on and then blend it out. And because I use a finishing powder, some of that is going to go away, but it is such a beautiful blush. It has a little bit of a glow to it. And I personally love a blushy look. And if my eye look is a little bit more subdued, then I do want the rest of my face to shine a little bit. So for my finishing powder, I will be going in with my Maybelline Fit Me finishing powder. It's a beautiful finishing powder. And the reason that I use a finishing powder is because I really like that seamless blend. I like for everything to be blended. My bronzer, my contour, my blush, everything. I want it all to be blended seamlessly, and it looks very airbrushed, and that is my favorite type of way to use a finishing powder. Just gonna go in and buff everything in. And it takes a little bit of that blushy edge off. So I don't have a lot of blush. I don't have a lot of contour. I don't have a lot of anything, especially eyeshadow. Now what I can do to make my eyes pop is tightline. So I'm going to be using the Sephora 12-hour liner. This is in the shade Sangria. It is a dark wine shade, but it's not so stark and it's not so dramatic as being a black. You could also use a brown liner if you wanted something a little bit more subtle, but I love what that tight line does to your entire eye. It makes it really pop. It gives a little bit of drama, and that is one of my favorite things to do in an eyeshadow look, is to give it that pop. I also like to do something in my waterline to kind of brighten it up a little bit. I'm going to use the Sephora 12-hour colorful shadow stick, and this is in the shade Fawn Shimmer, and it is such a pretty little shimmer. It's very subtle, but I'm going to do that in my waterline. And while you can't really see that on camera, you can see it in real life, and it just gives a really pretty little shimmer to your waterline, kind of brightens your eyes up a little bit. I'm going in with mascara. This is the Lash Stiletto from Maybelline. It is my favorite, and I'm going to do 2 coats of that, and then we're going to be done. I like to layer my mascaras sometimes, but for a less dramatic look, I'm just going to do 2 coats of the Maybelline. I meant to do this before I did my mascara, and I forgot, but this is the D'Alba serum spray, first spray serum, and I usually use it, especially this winter, to knock down that dry powdery look. So I'm going to spray it. Now that is not going to disturb my mascara. I just prefer to do it beforehand. I'm going to let it set just a little bit, and then I'm going to press it in with the back part of my sponge that doesn't have any product on it. And this melts that powder right into the skin. It also gives such a healthy glow. Yeah, it's really pretty. I love that spray serum. I have already purchased another one. This and this both were in my top 10 products that I discovered last year. Not new products, just things that I discovered. And I talked about the price differences in this. At Ulta, this is $26. This is 3.28 ounces or 100 mils. And this size at Ulta is $26. I have not paid more than $17.99, and that was on Amazon. That is my preferred place to purchase this, is on Amazon. Or they do have a website you can purchase from there as well. Now for lips, this is one of my favorite lip liners that I have been using. This is from LA Girl, and it is the Shockwave liner in the shade Rosewood. It is such a pretty, like mauve-y, dark mauve. I need to sharpen it, but it is such a pretty dark mauve liner. And we're going to do a very subtle lip. Keep telling myself subtle lip, because I have a tendency, I'm a little extra. So I'm going to line my lips, and I'm going to go in a little bit more on the sides. I'll come back, we'll blend it out, I'll show you. Okay, there's my liner. I'm just going to blend that out with my finger, and then I'm going in with the L'Oreal Color Riche lipstick in the shade Tickled Pink. Now right now, everybody's going crazy over the ballet slipper. Ballet slippers, it's unavailable. I've had this, and it's very similar. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm not going to go out and buy a specific lipstick just because it's all the rage right now. This is very similar to the ballet slippers. Ballet shoes? Ballet slippers? Now I can't remember. Put that on the center. And again, and you can do this with a brush as well. but you just blend it out. It's very soft, but you still have that ombre look that kind of gives your lips a little bit of a pouty look to them. And I love the pouty look. I think I need an inner corner. I don't usually do my inner corner until I'm done with everything else. This brush, I've had this brush for so long. This is a Moda brush. And it doesn't say, does it say? Stand by. Let me see if it says what type of a brush it is. Those are actual glasses. Those are not reading glasses. I don't know where my, oh, there they are. One of my favorite pair of reading glasses is right here. Okay, so this says, okay, it says Triad Concealer Brush. I don't use this as a concealer brush. I have other concealer brushes that I love. They're like the little cat paw, which is this. This is an alter ego. It is the dupe of the Angie Hot and Flashy A506. It is the same thing. It's the same thing. I just bought several of the alter ego BK Beauty dupes, and I love it. But this is called a cat paw. Kitty paw? Cat paw. This is a cat paw type brush. And this is what I use for my concealer, which I love. So this has just been hanging around. And then the other day, I was like, you know, I'm going to try that for an inner corner. It works. It works really well. So I'm going to go into this, the lightest pink in this palette. And I'm just going to touch it lightly. And this fits perfectly right there in my inner corner. I don't know what made me try it. I was just like, oh, because I usually will use a brush kind of like that for my inner corner. And I couldn't find the one I wanted because it was, you know, it was in there, but I couldn't find it. So I pulled this brush out, and I think it works perfectly for an inner corner. I do want to build that up just a little bit. I do want a little bit more brightness, a little bit more dramatic inner corner. There we go. Yeah, that's really pretty. I love it. It's very pretty. So this is my soft Valentine's Day look. I think I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve. It's soft, it's basic, it is glowy without being too shimmery and too sparkly, and pretty. Pretty was the word. I wanted it to be pretty. So without further ado, let's spice it up a little bit and let's go to our sultry look. Welcome to look 2. I'm going to be using the Ulta Matte Veil Eyeshadow Primer. And I used the Morphe in the first look. I'm going to use the Ulta in the second. And it's almost gone, you guys. I love this eye primer, and I do have a backup. This one I'm going to apply also with a brush. I just think that it goes on a lot more smoothly with a brush. I just put eye serum on. I'm trying out an eye serum that I got in my FabFitFun for winter, and I don't know how it plays with makeup, so we'll see. We'll see. I like this eye primer because it kind of blanks out your lid and covers all of those imperfections. And I can tell that it's getting a little dry. Like it's kind of old, but I still love it. Perfect. Okay, good. I'm going to start with the outer corner, and I'm going to start with the shade Rebellion, which is this here. Oh, by the way, I put my shades back in their original place. I don't know why I did that, but I liked them the other way. But when I'm doing something and I'm showing you what shade I'm using, you know, I didn't know what shades they were because they were all messed up. So, and a reminder, we're doing a sultry look. We're doing something a little darker. We're doing something a little bit more sexy. And so I'm going to start with my outer corner, and I'm going to start with the shade Rebellion. Like I said, Rebellion. I wish that this was just a tiny bit darker, like a little bit more wine. It's pretty red. Did I just hit, no, I didn't. I thought I hit pan in this. And yes, it's going to be a mess until I clean up the edges, but that's just how I roll. So I want to know, how do you Valentines? Do you Valentines with your significant other? Or do you Valentines with your girlfriends? Or do you Valentines alone? Let me know. When I was single, I would take myself out on a date. I would get all prettied up. I would go to the movies by myself. And I would then go out to dinner. Or sometimes I would do dinner and then a movie. And then sometimes I would go shopping, like Bath and Body Works or Victoria's Secret, and I would buy myself something. And I loved that. I've never done a Galentine's because my bestie, their anniversary is Valentine's Day. So we don't ever do anything like that. But Anthony and I always do something. Okay, now I think I'm going to go into the shade, I think I'm going to go into the shade Groove right here, but I'm not sure that it's going to be that much different than the Rebellion. We'll see. And I'm using a flat brush because I'm going to go up in my crease. Oh no, that is darker. All right, we're revisiting. I'm going to go back with the same brush, but I'm going to clean it off a little bit. I'm going to go into Groove and put that in my outer corner. Look at that. It looks, that's so funny because this looks darker than this, but it's not. And I don't know that I ever knew that about this palette. So I'm going to blend that out onto the Rebellion and see how that works. To be fair, these are not shades I usually use in this. So now we're going to do the opposite. I'm going to go into Rebellion and put that in my kind of transition area crease. But I'm stamping, I'm not blending because of my textured lids. But I want that to come over and kind of hug the crease. If you're new here, this is part of the process. I will clean this up. That's why I do my eyes first. All right, I'm going to take a brush with nothing on it, and I'm going to blend this outer line out a little bit. I'm going to use a lighter shade to blend it out here in a minute, but I kind of want to get that line blurred a little bit. This is looking a little wonky, but I think it'll be fine once everything is blurred out. Once everything is blended, I think it'll be fine. Okay, now I'm going to go into the shade Nude Mauve, which is this shade right here. No, I'm not. I'm going to go into Andi, which is right here, and I'm going to blend out that a little bit more. I was going to go a little bit more neutral at the top, but I really love this as a blending out shade, and I really love the shade. I mean, obviously, you can see that big pan in there. You can see that. I think I'm liking that. But then I'm going to go into the shade Mod, which is this lightest shade right here. It is a matte. And I'm going to put that up on my brow bone. I should have done my brows before I started this. I feel like I just did them. I really like that. I do. I don't love this. Blend this inner just a little bit more. I don't usually bring the dark shade all the way over, but I thought for this particular look I would do that, but I'm not loving it. My brow bone right here, like this bone right here, makes things look wonky sometimes. All right, I think that I'm good on the matte, so let's clean these edges up and see what we have before we go in with shimmers. I don't usually do this on camera because I make the dumbest faces, but I got to get that sharp point in there because that's how I like it. Okay, shimmers. I think I'm going to do this shade Swing. This is a very satiny type of shimmer. It's not real impactful. I'm going to do that on the outer part of my lid, and then I'm probably going to do, let me look at Psychedelic and Glitz beside each other. I'm going to do Psychedelic. Maybe I'll do Glitz on the inner corner. Yeah, so we'll be doing, so I'll be doing the Swing and then the Psychedelic. But first I'm going to put on some NYX Glitter Primer. And I think I just put too much on my hand. Always, always. Absolutely always. And I'm going to try to do this with a brush instead of my finger, but we'll have to see how it performs. So let me get one of my trusty Shop Miss A flat brushes. This is the E121. I love this I love these for shimmers. And I'm going to go into that Swing. And I'm not going to spray it or anything. I'm just going to lay it down. Yes, that is really dark and really pretty. And that laid down just fine with the brush. All right, now I'm going to go into Psychedelic. I'm going to clean this off, but I'm just going to turn it over and use the other side. Now, this is more of an impactful type of shimmer. But yeah, it's going on well with the brush. I like that. I like applying my shimmers with a brush, not with my fingers. And then I'm going to blend these two shades together because we want a seamless blend there in the middle. And that is really pretty. This Psychedelic is very pink, but a very pale pink, but it has a gold, like a gold shift to it, a little bit of a flip to it. And when I am applying my shimmers, I am pressing them on. I am not swiping them on. I am pressing them into the lid. And then I will swipe as I'm blurring that line in between. And I think I got up a little too far on this side. So I'm going to go into the Andi shade again. And I'm going to touch that up on this side. Yeah, so that Psychedelic shade really took it into a warm place. And I can see where that would look really good with these two warmer shades, these more terracotta shades. But I do love it with the cool tones. I think it's very pretty. I'm going to go in and pat just a little bit more in the front. And then again, blend those two shades together. Sometimes when you're blending a really light shade with a really dark shade, it's a little difficult to blend that center line, but just keep blending. I blend forever I blend. If you only knew how long I sit here and blend, because it's really important to get that blend. Now, what does it need? It needs an inner corner, but that's going to be later. So I'm going to do my base makeup. We're going to come back. We're going to do cheeks. We're going to do liner. We're going to do lips. Don't go anywhere. It always helps when you hit record. It does. I'm just telling you. It helps when you hit record. Okay. Base makeup is done. I used, all of this will be listed in the description box below for both looks. I did write down what I used for the first look so that I remembered, but I used the IT Cosmetics CC Cream. This is the Illuminating, and it is in the shade Light Medium. It is too dark for me right now, but I love it, and I'm trying to finish it. So I did mix in a little bit of the regular CC Cream. I get these when they are on sale at Ulta during their 21 Days of Beauty. They usually will have them 50% off. During the 21 Days of Beauty, also sometimes randomly, they'll have them 50% off. And that's the only time I buy these. These are one of my favorites, but I think they're very expensive. I really do. So I mixed those two together. For a little bit of color correcting on my spot here, I have the Maybelline Age Rewind Eraser Concealer. I do depot them into these. I bought these on Amazon, and then I just clean them out. Fun fact, if you're trying to clean one of these out and you have a water pick, that works really, really well. Are we all up to date? Oh, okay. This is this little bit left there. This is the e.l.f. Putty. This is the e.l.f. Putty Bronzer in the shade Tan Lines. You can see it's almost gone. I'm going to really miss this because I do love this shade. It is a very neutral bronzer. It is not too orange for me. Are we all up to date? Yes. Okay, we're going to go in with blush. And I'm going in with the Nude Sticks. This is the Matte Luxe all over face color. You can use this on your eyes, lips, face. I use it as a blush. I did get this in, it has a little brush on the end. I don't use that, but this is in the shade Rosy Posy. I did get this in PR from them, but I do have many others that I have bought with my own money because I love nude sticks. But I'm going to use a brush. I will sometimes draw it on, sometimes use a brush. Today I'm going to use a brush. And I think this just gives a really pretty natural pink flush once you blend it out. I think Nude Sticks is an amazing brand. I thought that before they sent me PR. I was ecstatic when they sent me PR. I will blend these out. And because this is a more sultry, sexy look, I'm going to be a little extra, like I usually am. The first look was very simple, very not Andi-like, because I do like to be extra. I like to be extra when I'm doing my makeup. I like to set my creams with my powders, and I just do. I feel like it lasts longer, and I like that. I like it. I am going to go in with a bronzer, just a little bit right through here. This is the e.l.f. Primer Infused Bronzer in the shade Forever Sun-Kissed. It is one of my favorite bronzers that I own. I do love the Physicians Formula Butter Bronzer. That is my Holy Grail bronzer. I have that in Face Palette. I didn't buy the single of it because I have it in Face Palette. Do I use my Face Palettes? Not very often. I kind of do wish I had it in a just a single, but I just need to use my Face Palettes more. Okay, I'm going to go in with this Tarte. This is an Amazonian clay. This was given to me by my friend Deb in the shade Peaceful. It is just a really pretty pink shade. So I will put that on. I've been playing around with some blush placement, but this is my go-to. I like it from here up. It does make my face look a little bit more lifted, and after 50, kind of need that. Is it gravity? Gravity. All right, now I'm going to go in with the Nikia Joy finishing powder. This was one of my top 10 finds of last year. It is, of course, not a new product. It was just new to me. And I need to melt all of that powder in. I'm going in with the D'Alba First Spray Serum. Look, it's almost gone. I do have a backup. I will not be without this. This is wonderful because I have such dry skin, and when I do powder down, sometimes it looks a little chalky, a little powdery, and it's not wanting to spray. There we go. And then I let that sit for just a minute, and then I go in with my sponge and I press it in. I do not powder under my eyes. Now, some of my finishing powder does go under my eyes, but for the most part, I don't powder under my eyes, because, at least not in the winter, because that is bad news. That is bad news. All right, I think we need an inner corner. Where'd my, there's my palette. All right, I am going to go into this shade Glitz for my inner corner. This one right here. I tell you what, I don't get any messages ever until I start filming, and then people are blowing up my phone. And I mentioned this in the first part of the video. This brush, Moda is having a sale right now, and I went in and bought 2 or 3 more of these because it is perfect for an inner corner. It is a concealer brush. It is not an inner corner brush. It is a concealer brush, but it is the perfect shape for going in that inner corner. I love it. And I'm glad that I decided to try it that way. Because normally, I think I showed you. Did I show you? I don't know. It's been 2 weeks since I filmed that first one. Just saying. I usually go in with something like this for my inner corner, and this is perfect. It just fits right there in that little niche. I think I'm going to do something underneath the eyes to make it a little bit more smoky. And I need a good brush for that. This is a dough color brush. I got this years ago. I think I got it in a Busy Beauty box. I'm going to go into Groove, since it seems to be darker than Rebellion, because I don't want it to be red, because I don't want it to look like I have rabies. That's not cute. But I am going to put that underneath my eye there. And then I'm going to use the same brush. I'm going to clean it off. Where's my thing? Here it is. And I'm going to go into that shade Andi, that mid-tone mauve shade. I'm going to go into that shade and kind of blend all of that out a little bit. Yeah, I like that. I think that's really pretty. All right, liners. I think I'm going to use, here's the deal. I had a black liner in my Plan to Pan, and I've lost it. I've completely lost it. I have no idea where it is. My granddaughter was playing in she's just over a year, and she can't take lids off yet. So, you know what? I let her play over here. When I'm doing my makeup, it keeps her busy. She likes to take things from one of these little bins and put them in another and all of that. I let her do it. Whatever. But I'm going to use Sangria again. I'm pretty sure I used Sangria in my first look. Like I said, it was 2 weeks ago. And I'm going to tight line with this after I sharpen it. I don't like that. I like it to be a sharp. There we go. Look how little it is. This is also in my Plan to Pan. Okay, tight lining is done. I'm thinking about, I wonder if I should we do a wing? It is very vampy, very sexy. I'm gonna do a wing. I'm doing a wing. Okay, I'm not doing it on camera though, because that's just silly. I'll be back. We have just a little baby wing there. I'm telling you what, this is the MAC Brush Black. Brush Black. Brush Stroke 24-hour liner. This is a felt tip, but it is very, very tiny. I got this in a MAC bundle that Z Dooley sent me for Christmas a couple of years ago, and I have been using it ever since. It just is it's just a little wispy, like it's so good. All right, I'm gonna do the other eye. I'll be back. And they kind of match. Wow. Okay, I had to get in a little bit more on an inner corner. I cannot do this on camera, you guys. I just can't, because first of all, the faces that I make is just, it's not cute. And the other thing is I really need to concentrate, and it takes me kind of a long time. So, all right, I'm going to brows. What did I do with my brow thing? Here it is. Brows is just the, I don't remember if I did my brows in my first one or not. It's just the LA Girl Princess Brow, oh, Brow Perfect. Brow Perfect. And I really like this. My brows do not need a whole lot of taming, laminating, whatever. I also toyed with the idea of doing lashes, and I'm not doing that because I'm terrible at lashes. And most times I end up messing up my makeup. But I am going to use the Lancome Sills Booster. I just happen to have a couple of, I have this mini, and I have 2 full size that have all been given to me. So I didn't go out and buy this. I really like a lash primer, but I would recommend, I've heard really good things about the Essence. I'm pretty sure that, I know that a lot of brands have lash primers, and I'm not sure that I would pay the price for a Lancome. I'm just saying. It's wonderful, don't get me wrong, but I just don't know that I would pay the price because I have drugstore mascara. Drugstore mascara. This is the Maybelline Lash Stiletto. Again, I'll be back. I'm going to do 2 coats of the Lash Princess, and there's a reason that it is a favorite, because it is one of my favorites for sure. Especially now that I can't find my L'Oreal Air Volume, which I need to look on Amazon. You guys, I always forget to look on Amazon. But Ulta does not carry it anymore, and I'm wondering if they're phasing it out. That would be a big shame. Mascara is down. I managed to get a little bit on my nose here. I'm not going to touch it yet. I'm going to wait till it completely dries. Now, lips. I don't know if I should do... All right, I'm going to start with the Huda. This is the lip contour in Muse. They don't sell this anymore. It is just a pale pink. It is just a pink. I'm going to start with that, and I'm kind of going to overline a little bit. This is not as creamy as it once was. I really, really want to use it up. It's better since I sharpened it, but it's not great. I need to sharpen this. I think I had to sharpen it in the last look. But this is very creamy, and it does not last a long time, but I do absolutely love this shade. This is the About Face Matte Lip Crayon Lip Pencil in the shade Paper Romance. Paper Romance. Paper Romance. And it is perfect. It is such a great shade. And now I'm going to go in with the Revlon Color Stay Overtime. And this is in the shade, I can never remember, Everlasting Plum. I will be back. I have a feeling this is on its last legs. There's just such a small amount of product in here. And I don't use this side. That side is a gloss you put on top of it. I prefer to put something else over top of it. But it's such a pretty lipstick. I'm going to let that dry down for a little bit. While that dries down, I'm going to do brows. And I'm just going to use my regular brown eyeshadow. This is in the shade, it's Sydney Grace Beyond. Yes, it is in the shade Beyond. Okay, brows are done. If you want me to do my brows on camera, let me know. It takes a really long time. Well, okay, so not a really long time. It takes some time. It takes some time. You know what I didn't do? I didn't do anything in my waterline. I'm going to do they don't sell these anymore, but you can buy a light shade. This is a light pink. This is NYX Faux Whites. They don't sell these anymore, but they do sell lighter liners. I usually do that before my mascara, but I completely forgot. So very similar to the lipstick that I used in the first look. I used the Tickled Pink from L'Oreal. This is from Rimmel, and this is the shade Iced Rose. And I love it because I love a frosty lipstick. It's usually a little bit more pink than that. Maybe on top of this. It's really pretty though. I think I overdid it just a little bit. Okay, that's a little better. I went through and just put a little bit more of this on top and just patted it in. Like my manicure. It's a mess. It's a mess. This one doesn't match because this I kept messing up. So I took it off and then just put some nail strengthener on it. I haven't gone back through and fixed it yet. Look 2 is done. Tell me, do you prefer the soft look or do you prefer the sultry look? I'm a little bit more on the sultry side. I like the sultry look. I like the smoky outer corner. I like the extra bling on the lid. I like the extra blush and the extra bronzer and the extra lip. I like the extra. Tell me what you do for Valentine's Day and tell me what your preferred Valentine's Day makeup is. Are you soft? Are you sultry? You guys, thank you so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. And until our next adventure, everyone have a great day and we'll see you later.